Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Built for Us podcast. You are with Ben and Vish, and we are going to be talking about tonight bullying on site, the way it affects you, the different ways people see it, bantering, all those kind of things that are taken for granted on building sites, and how it affects myself, it affected myself, and other people on site from what I've spoke to and other people I've spoke to. So, welcome, Vish.
Hello, mate. How are you?
Yeah, I'm really good. Thank you. Really good.
Oh, you
So
picked. I was gonna say you picked a really, really interesting conversation to deep dive into. So
yeah,
where do you want to kick things off?
yeah, it's something I've always wanted to talk about because it's not talked about enough, I don't think, and I don't think enough men talk about it because it's embarrassing, if anything. I think that most people find. So what I found was when I first started in the building industry, you were like a mate or a Joey, they called you, so you would learn the trade like an apprentice, and then you'd work your way up the ladder and become a fitter or a project manager or anything like that. Now, when you first started, you normally start in your teenage years, so you're quite vulnerable anyway. And I found that near enough from day one, people would mock you for not just normal things. Like, I mean, everyone has a bit of banter with their friends, but I think it goes a bit further when they sort of talking about your sexuality because you're not as much of a lad as them, or not getting up to what they get up to down the pub, or at the weekends. If you're a bit more, I got brought up by two women, so I've always been a bit more feminine. So when you're on site, it's such a manly world. It's hard to fit in. So then you try to become that person and become a fake person, which then shows through anyway. I've had all sorts of things done to me. You get the bantery things like a long wait. You get to sit outside an office for an hour, and everyone laughs because you make. But we had things where they were trying to make you do things that weren't safe. I've had incidents on scissor lift up in the air, like 20 foot in the air, and you're doing something on the ductwork, or you're trying to screw something, and because you're in working, they would lower the machine, so you had to grab on to try and scare you to see how much you took it. I've had incidences where I've been down the bottom of a riser, holding up some heavy ductwork and holding it solid, and then people just peeing down the shaft and onto you and thinking it's funny. But when you look back and think, oh my God, why did I allow that to happen? Why was no one looking out for you? Why was there no one to talk to, kind of thing?
Gosh, that sounds absolutely traumatic, and I agree with you. There's the joke side of things, like go get me a glass hammer, and
Yeah,
you all have a bit of banter and you have a laugh and you have a joke because you're greener than green, and people can take the mick out of you. And I think that side of the culture, I don't think it should change because the if you're coming into construction, you're coming into a 85% male dominated industry. And I think the laughing, the joking, the that side of construction, I think has to stay. But when we're looking at the bullying side and the things that you went through, now that absolutely has to stop. Because from personal experience, I've been outside, I've worked in the cold, and you're surrounded by a group of geezers, and you need that laugh, you need that joke, you need that banter just to keep you going. If you're working a night shift, especially, come 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, you're like, oh,
yeah,
I'm feeling it, mate. You know what I mean? But then, that other side of bullying is absolutely atrocious. And, you've shared so vulnerably, so I'm going to share vulnerably as well. I work for a maintenance company as an apprentice. So this must have been, I'm 32 now. This was when I was about 18 years old. Mate, I was bullied endlessly. I was picked up by my collars, thrown into lockers because I come from the Indian heritage. Like, um, I was called a chaiwala, which is a tea maker, every day. And
oh
I know it
God, yeah,
doesn't sound like a lot, but it escalates, and that's the problem. It got to the stage where I'd be at work and I'd be genuinely scared to walk onto this site because, you know, I remember getting, literally put into a guillotine, which is like a choke. So
oh
you,
my
you
God,
essentially, yeah, so basically, and that will choke you out. And I remember going like, like I'm gasping for air. and I'm literally like, get the fuck off me. Like I was going absolutely mental.
Yeah.
All whilst literally gasping for air. So construction can have a really horrible bullying side to it. How do we get there then? How do we get there? How do we turn these negatives into a positive? How do we create that culture? Where do we start?
I think it's got to start from the top. I went on site today because I work in sales and do a lot of health and safety talks on site now, regarding the equipment. And there was a poster up there, saying about people getting aggressive on site and that kind of thing. But I never really see, if you feel like you're being bullied, if it's too much for you, because a lot of people on building sites are self-employed as well. So it's not like you can take some time off to get over it or anything, or get signed off sick or anything because you're self-employed. So I think it's got to start from the top. And I do see a lot more mental health rooms, quiet rooms, all that kind of stuff. But I don't think people are actually physically pushing people towards it, advertising it properly, when they're doing their toolbox talks, making it approachable for someone. And if so, I'm a 20-year-old apprentice and I've got a 40-year-old man bullying me on site. You're going to be scared because you think you're going to lose your job, but there should be repercussions for the 40-year-old, not for yourself. But it's hard because you might be a two-man band. He might be on his own and just taking you on. So it's a real tricky one of how to do it. But I think there's got to be places where you can speak freely to someone, even if it's anonymous, and say, look, this is happening on site. So someone can come around site, maybe observe it from the project team or the health and safety team, have a look what's going on, and just sort of keep an ear out for you, ask if you're okay, maybe call you back, sort of at the end of the day, just sort of catch you when you're on your own. These kind of things, I just think it needs more effort and more appreciation for the problem that it actually is. Because
Yeah.
young people now, I've got a son of 21 and I've got a son of 17. There are a bit more, I don't know, everyone calls them woke and stuff, don't they, like jokingly, but they are a
Mm,
bit more in touch with their feelings, which I love.
mm.
They're a bit more open about their opinions about it, what affects them, what doesn't. And I just don't think young people are going to get into the construction industry because they're going to be bullied out of it if something doesn't stop with it soon.
Yeah, I completely agree. Present moment, we're losing 50% of apprentices in UK. So I think that statistic screams volumes. So,
Yeah.
half of the apprentices are not making it to completion and they're choosing to leave. And I think you're absolutely right. There's got to be more energy put into the leaders of construction to go, you need to be more open. We need to create safer spaces for you. But all of that is so taboo, especially as a man. So really,
Yeah.
I feel as if um, you know, we need to open up vulnerability. We need to be more open. We need to have conversations like the ones me and you are having right now on building sites. And that's, in my opinion, that is like such a challenge to get a young or older man to go, like, I'm hurt by this.
Yeah.
It is a challenge, but if we start opening that communication like we are right now, I'm hoping somebody else can kind of build up the courage to go to. It doesn't have to be the supervisor. It can just be a person on site that you're close with, you're friends with, or you've built that sort of relationship with that person, and go, fucking hell, I'm having a really bad day, and it's
Yeah.
because my supervisor's given me X, Y, and Z problems, and I don't know how to deal with them, or whatever it is. But without that open communication, we're all a bit stuck, aren't we?
Yeah, and it's really tricky just to try, because there is lots more on site about talk about your feelings, talk more, open up more, and there is more podcasts like ourselves that are encouraging it. But again, even when we talk about it now, I don't think I could do that on site. Even though I'm
Mm.
quite open with everything, I still think, what where would I say that? And if I did say it, I don't think I'd be in a job very long. So
Interesting.
it's
So,
scary.
so could you say it to a friend on site? Because we've all got mates on site.
Yeah, and like I say, it depends who they are. You'd sort of have to gauge it. I know that a couple of times on site, even recently, because I'm in sales now on site, I obviously speak to main contractors, subcontractors, that. And I recently had, I think it was 3 weeks off work for my mental health. I was just burnt out and I needed to take a bit of a break. And when I come back, I sort of tried to be open about it. And people say, "Why are you off?" And I tried to open that conversation up. And a few people, one especially, text me every day for the next 2 weeks, making sure I was okay. And he was a high up health and safety person. I didn't really know that well. And he opened up to me and said, "I suffer from the same things, especially around Christmas." And it was so heartwarming to hear that you're not alone. And I think if we did start talking more people would open up, because there's people going through marriages, obviously money problems at the moment. There's all sorts of, there's illness. Obviously, suicide rates on construction is ridiculous anyway. So it everyone's going through something. It's just sort of like breaking that taboo of, it doesn't matter if they're like this big angry man that you're scared of. You should be able to go, "Look, mate, I'm not feeling great today. This is why," and not feel ashamed about it. Because I guarantee you, that bloke will probably say, "Oh no, my missus is giving me trip. I've not slept for a couple of days. I'm feeling it myself," and start an actual conversation.
Yeah, absolutely. And I I think something that I've grasped from what you've said is the biggest thing holding you back is fear. But mate, like genuinely, fear is the thing that holds anyone and everyone back from everything. So,
Yeah,
I remember, take yourself back to your childhood and, the first time you rode a bike with no stabilizers. It's scary until you do it. And then all of a sudden you're like, why did I ever need stabilizers?
yeah,
And that's exactly the concept I think me and you are pushing out today on this podcast. It's the fact that, look, we know, like, I know how hard it is to go to someone on site and go, "Mate, I feel like I'm being bullied," or "I feel like I'm being harassed by this guy," or "This guy has taken it way too far to that apprentice over there."
yeah,
But it takes so much courage to be the person who speaks up and goes, "This isn't right," than it does to go home and stress and have anxiety and feel like the world is crumbling down. And that does happen. When you're having a
yeah,
really bad day at work, you end up coming home and you're taking it out on your partner, you're taking out your kids, you're taking out your dog, or whoever it is you're taking it out on. We can't let it do that anymore. We just absolutely can't
yeah.
continue to, because
I remember when
bullying,
I, sorry, Fish.
yeah, I was just gonna say, because bullying doesn't stop on site. You take it home with you. So,
Oh, 100%.
so
Yeah, I was just going to say, when we used to go sort of finish work, and we'd go down the pub, and I would drink and try and join in that way and become sort of more of the crew by drinking. But then the drinking became a way of sort of lessening it a little bit and thinking, "Oh, it's okay, I've had a drink." And you go home thinking, "I'm okay." And then you wake up in the morning with the dread, plus you've got a
mm,
hangover, and then you go through it all again. And I did start drinking quite regularly on site. I mean, I've given up drinking now, but I used to drink quite regularly after work and stuff like that. And when I look back now, because I've recently done some counselling myself, just to sort of have a look, you look back and think, I didn't even enjoy that really. It was just a case of trying to fit in, trying to do stuff that you thought would make you a bit, they'd be a bit softer on you kind of thing, and sort of not pick on you as much if you are joining the lad culture. Or, "Look at me, I'm doing this, I'm having a drink," and all, "Look, I'm trying to get hold of that girl," or whatever it is, or trying to fit
mm,
into their mentality when it's just against everything I'm like, really. And it's sad that it's taken me, well, my 47 now, sort of 47 years, to actually realise that it was quite traumatic, and it was quite a horrible time. And I used to sort of beat myself up and
mm,
say, what was going on there? But now I see it a bit clearer. I do try and look out on site a bit more because, like I say, I'm on there in a different capacity now. And I try to talk openly as much as physically possible to everyone on site about it. And you do get responses back. So, like you say, it is trying to break down that fear of it and just going, yes, there is someone on site that will listen. There is someone on site that will help.
yeah.
There's always someone.
You know what's really interesting? There's two things I want to touch on there. And the first thing is, I was listening to another podcast recently, and the guest on there said something really fascinating. It was about social media, and it was something on the lines of, we all know that there's something wrong, but it's only when we start talking about it, we start going, "Oh, I'm not the only one who thinks that." And
Yeah,
just like you said there, and then all of a sudden I've said there, and then the guy you spoke to a little while ago then was vulnerable to you. Then the health and safety manager was also vulnerable to you. We all know deep down that we don't. all like we don't go out drinking on a Tuesday night, and we don't like the hangover on a Wednesday morning, and we don't want to repeat that cycle. We all know it. It's
Yeah,
just about talking about it so that other people kind of go, ah, shit, I'm not alone. There's somebody else who thinks like me. And yeah, I think that's such an important thing to say. And the other thing is like a solution side of things. Um, I was recently talking to a gentleman, and he's a health and safety manager for a company in America. And he said something really interesting. Something that he's incorporated into the business he works for is a peer support. So you know how we have mental health first aiders all over construction now.
yeah,
What he's got is peer support workers. So these people within the company, they champion other people to come and speak to them. So let yeah, and I was like, honestly, I was a bit brutal. I said, does that shit even work?
yeah,
Um, and he come in a bit closer, and he was like, it fucking does, mate. And I was like, really? Yeah. So rather than having mental health, well, sorry, no, as well as having mental health first aiders, we should have people you can just specifically go and speak to. And then what he did to, because he realized a lot of people were coming to him, right? So what he did then was said, okay, fine. There's a team of 6 or 7 or 8 chippies or sparkies or plumbers or whatever. He would take them all out to lunch, and he would start the mental health conversation of how's everyone doing, blah blah blah. And after a few minutes, everyone was there for the agenda. They knew the agenda, and they all started opening up and talking about it. So rather than doing one to one, he now had a group of people um, who was talking about the same thing, and they all bounced ideas off one another. And I thought, what a brilliant idea! It's
yeah.
quick,
That's
it's
incredible.
easy. Yeah, you could do team building with that because you're going out to lunch with your fellow staff. And I thought, what a brilliant idea! I think we should incorporate that here in the UK.
Yeah, it's such like saying and we all say it and we all go on about it and we like say we do podcasts like this and talk about it. It is such simple little things that will change the world for the better. But like I say, it's just that fear of that simple thing of feeling like say you are weak. I know it's sort of what the key word isn't it? You feel you are weak or you're going to get bullied worse because you said it. But if you actually stood there and said to someone, I don't think unless they're completely nasty, they're not going to go, oh yeah, I'm going to carry on doing that now. It will, I think it would stop people in their tracks and they go, you know what, I'm having trouble at home. My release is maybe taking out on you too much. I can't do it at home, stuff like that. So I bring it to work, you get the brunt of it, and then you take it home, your kids get the brunt of it or whatever it is. And then I say it's just that so that conversation, that little group of 6 people going for lunch would stop that conversation dead. And then that 6 people, that's 6 more people on site that people know are talking about it. So hopefully another 6 people reach, that's 36 people. And it just grows, doesn't it?
Absolutely, 100%, Ben. And I think that's absolutely fascinating. But there is the other side of it as well, and I think it's important to touch on this because when we look at bullying, there's the victim and then there's the abuser, right?
Yeah.
And I think it's really important for the victim to do this in a safe space. Like I personally wouldn't recommend confronting that person head on and going, "Hey, mate, you're a fucking this." I
Yep.
wouldn't recommend that because that would lead to further confrontation. Ideally, in a situation like that, speak to a supervisor. If a supervisor isn't available, speak to the site manager. If the site manager is not available, then speak to the accounts director who's probably sitting up in an office somewhere,
Yeah.
or speak to the health and safety manager. There is always someone you can speak to. And because let's be honest, if you're feeling bullied by this individual or this group, the chances are you're not alone. There's probably a lot of people feeling the same way, but they all feel like they're isolated and alone, so they don't speak up about it. But
Yeah.
honestly, I absolutely vouch for this. It's we don't need to man up; we need to speak up. And when we
Yeah.
speak up, as you said, the world changes for the better.
Yeah, exactly that. And speaking up is like I say, I've tried to speak up like most of my life, sort of, but not in any conviction or with anything to back it up. But now I'm a bit older, people are starting to listen to me and sort of change the way they think and the way they talk, which is when you see it in people, it is inspiring for everybody. So it's an incredible thing just to, like say, just to speak up. Because sometimes it can be the bravest thing you ever do, but it'll be the best.
Absolutely. And you know, there's something we need to add a positive twist to this because look, we need to be real here. The construction industry is, you know, 250 plus thousand workers short. 50% of apprentices are dropping out. We're losing two construction workers to suicide every working day. Stress has increased, anxiety has increased, depression has increased. But for people coming into construction, I want to say this open heartedly, things are going to get better. There are so many people talking so positively about the industry. We are literally working our backsides off to implement these positive changes, to change the culture. So, yeah, we got to be
I
real.
totally
We say
agree.
yeah, the
When I
construction
was
industry
on,
isn't perfect.
yeah,
The
I mean, I
construction
was going to say,
industry
when I
isn't
was on
perfect.
site 20 odd years ago to now, when you go on site now from 20 odd years ago, site is such a different place.
Yeah,
Um,
100%.
and that's what we want. It's getting better every year. It's getting better. Everything's getting better. Health and safety is getting better. People are more aware. Like I say, there's more charities going into mental health charities going in doing toolbox talks and open up these conversations. So
Yeah,
it is getting there. And like I say, we do need younger people to come in, and that's what this is what this is all about, to make sure that when they come in, it's a different world for them, and they can prosper, and it can. We need construction. We need to build everything in this country. So the more people we can get in there, because it can be such a rewarding career
absolutely.
as well. So
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And when we open those doors to people, especially young people, they add so much value to the industry. They've got a different perspective. They view the world completely differently, and we really need that talent to come in. And it's not just young people. I would like to say it's women in construction too. We need more women. We need more diversity. We need more inclusion. But I know they're all, as some construction workers will say, woke words or snowflake words, but it's not true because everyone who comes into construction, they add something to it. And we
yeah.
cannot stop people adding to this industry. We need to keep growing, keep getting better. And we will, 100% we will.
Yeah, I totally agree. And where we work with a lot of health and safety teams and project management teams and sort of higher ups away from the sort of subcontractor level, there's a lot more women coming in and being project managers, running sites, running health and safety. And they like say it's a completely different viewpoint. It's a completely different work ethic from men, and it does change the dynamic on site completely for the better. So it's a
Absolutely.
different, like I say, it's a different brain, it's a different way of thinking, and they are bringing this, and it's great. We work with one big major main contractor on site, and they've got a lot of ladies or young girls coming onto site now, and they are training up to be project managers and stuff like that. And the way they handle themselves on site, it's inspiring to see, because I didn't think I'd see it in my when I was younger. I didn't think that would happen. But there's all sorts of trades now. You can see ladies doing all sorts of trades, which is incredible.
Completely agree, mate. Completely agree. And I think we're both on the same page in saying we want more of it. And by improving the culture, by completely decreasing the bullying, improving mental health, we're gonna start seeing that happen. And mate, I'm thumbs up for it. Like
Yeah, 100%.
let's make it happen. Let's make it happen. I think it'll be
Yeah,
fantastic.
and that's why it's so great to be part of these kind of things, isn't it? Like these podcasts and stuff, because it just sheds a little bit of light on it. If a few people hear it and it change their opinion, it's only for the better, and that's all we're after, isn't it? Just trying to a better world where we can get on and, like I say, get better results on site and make sure everyone's happy and enjoying their work. Really.
100%. So if there was one final thing we could give the listeners, what would that one bit of advice be from you?
Oh, my bit of advice would be talk to someone if you are struggling for whatever reason. Don't do it in silence. I know it's the cliche that we say, but don't do it in silence. Always talk to someone. It doesn't matter who it is, even if it's not someone on site. If it's your wife, it's your brother, your sister, your nephew, your uncle, whoever it is, your best mate, someone on site, even a stranger like a mental health first aider. Just talk to someone, release that valve, that pressure, and I guarantee that person is going to give you the time. That person will be supportive, even if they're not sure what to do or what to say. they will listen, and it will feel better even for that second that you talk, and you might find that they open up to you and make it feel better, and so you're not alone.
Love it. Absolutely love it. And my final bit of advice is don't give up on construction. We're working to make it better. We're going to make it better. And we just need a bit of time to make it all happen. So never give up
Yeah,
on construction. Thank you for listening. It's been an absolute pleasure, Ben. Thank you for your time.
lovely. Yeah, thank you too, Vish. It's great meeting you, because it's the first time we've met on this podcast, so it's great meeting you properly.
Likewise, mate. Likewise.
Yeah. Have a good evening.
Cheers.
Thanks for viewing this episode. We really appreciate your support. Remember, follow us, subscribe, share with a mate, join us live. Built for us. Let's build something stronger together.